Hey everyone, Tony Ivanov here, lead trader and founder of TradeBuddy. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different for you guys. I'm going to show you guys live exactly how I make my watch list every single night. Essentially, if you don't know what a watch list is, it's just a list of stocks that you believe have some potential to run in the near future. Just a way to track these plays and makes it a bit easier to trade them live because you've already studied these stocks and you know what they're moving about. So for example, if we see a stock pop up on the low float movers live scanner during market hours, if it's a stock that's on my watch list, I already know everything about it. I know the price, I know the news, I know the chart patterns, I know everything about it. So it saves me precious seconds having to do that research live uh, during market hours and allows me to use those precious seconds to plan my entries, which is a very big deal because, as you guys know, with some of these low float stocks, they can move a lot in just mere seconds. So every second counts, and making the watch list during nighttime or even during pre-market will give you just that much more of an edge over other traders who are not so willing and just too lazy to do this type of work. So essentially what I do is I have what's called, well, to me, what it's called is just a rolling watch list. So I have one watch list that I just re-update over and over again. So what I mean by that is I will add stocks to it. I'll leave stocks on there if they still have a potential play, and I'll take them off if they've already done their play or they're no longer a possible runner. So I post my watch list every single night on my website, tradebuddy.net/blog. So I'm going to show you guys my watch list right now. And essentially what we're going to do during this video is just go down through each ticker first, see if it's still in play. If it is, we'll leave it on there. If it's not, we'll take it off. And then we're going to go through our Trade Ideas scanner, look through which stocks ran today, look at their charts, look at the catalysts, see if it has potential to run again tomorrow. So, if it did a multi-day breakout today, if it has a breakout very close to its price level, or if it had good news today, then I will consider adding it to the watch list. And then, of course, I will use my other Trade Ideas low float stocks list, which basically will just list me all the stocks with a low float that had biggest volume today. And then I'll go through most of those, see if they're have potential good plays. So first thing I want to break down is the three main things I look for in the stock when putting it on my watch list. And it has to do with, one, the price. So the price that I like to trade in is anywhere from $1 to $10. Second is the float. Oh, and let me clarify that these ranges are not solid ranges. I will sometimes trade stocks that are less than $1. I will sometimes trade stocks that are more than $10. It just depends if those stocks in particular have a great catalyst. But usually all the stocks I trade are in between 1 to 10. And then same thing with float. I like to trade low float stocks, and my ideal float is anywhere less than 10 million shares. But sometimes I will put stocks on the watch list that have like 15 or 20 million shares if the catalyst is good enough. And then third, last but not least, is the catalyst itself. So I go off with three main catalysts. The first one is a technical catalyst, which is chart patterns. So your flat top breakouts, your U-shapes, your bull flags, and so forth. If a stock on the daily chart has an upcoming multi-day breakout very close to its price level, or if it did one today, then I will likely add that stock to my watch list looking for a continued spike tomorrow. Second thing I look for is news. If a stock had good news today, that's going to bring in more volume, and that volume can help stocks do these technical breakouts. So essentially what I do is I look for stocks that have either it just did a very obvious daily breakout, or it's just about to do an obvious daily breakout, and it has the volume or the potential volume to push it through that breakout level, and then the low float to help it just squeeze up and make massive profits. So we're going to go down this list. I'm not going to leave the list on the screen for obvious reasons. It takes up too much room. So I'm going to bring it off to the side here, and we're just going to go down the list one by one. So this video might be a bit longer. but just bear with me. It has great lessons to it. So first off, YECO. So YECO on my watch list, I say it's a recent runner, making a wedge since March. The ultimate breakout it needs to do is $3.75 to squeeze into the fours. Has a low float of 2.38 million shares. So this is what I mean on this particular stock. It's making this kind of wedge pattern here. It has history of spiking in the past. It has a low float too. So we know that this stock has ran strong in the past, which is great. We always want to look for previous runners, stocks that have proven that when they have good volume, they can spike. So YECO is in this type of wedge here, and I'm just waiting until we have the ultimate breakout over 375, which is the high on this day over here. Because the break over 375 will likely get it the volume it needs to squeeze up into the fours and fives and so forth. It has history of hitting 518, and previous to that, it has history of hitting as high as $9. So I'm leaving that one on the watch list. It's still in play. It's still in its wedge. Next up is NAP. NAP, it's still trying to hold support at the 425 level. Actually, it made a lower low today. It hit a low of 418. So I'm going to take this one off the watch list for now. So that's coming off the watch list. HEAR. I added HEAR to this watch list a few weeks ago because it was in this wedge pattern. And today we did actually break out of the wedge momentarily, but we got stuffed at $5.50. So we have broken out of the wedge. So that's bullish. So tomorrow I'm going to modify what we have on HEAR, and I'm going to say that I'm watching the breakout over 550, because if we break over 550, next resistance is 575. And if we can break over 575, that's a very clear breakout. And we could hit around 617 and even higher. So let me log into my website because I forgot to do that. So we said NAP coming off the watch list, taking that off. HEAR. Bring it over here so you guys can see what I'm typing. Broke out of its wedge today, but hit resistance at 550. Watching tomorrow for a breakout over 550 to push it to the ultimate breakout of 575. All right, so next up is LEDS. LEDS, this is on watch because I had a huge doji yesterday. A squeeze above $5 could bring in massive hype. However, this did just do a very large gap down, so there could be lots of bag holders. Now, one thing I noticed about this is that we have decreasing volume. So I'm going to leave this one on the watch list. However, I'm not that bullish on it. I'm going to leave it on there just because we are kind of holding this wedge on the daily. So, or not this wedge, this flag. So this will probably be on the watch list for maybe another 1 or 2 days, depending on how this reacts. But of course, a break over 527 would be a very clear breakout. So be on the watch for that. Next, MYND. Last night I said has a flat top breakout over 245. Next resistance after that is around 335. And then low float of 3.47 million shares. So still in play. It's still holding above the 20 EMA. It's kind of downtrending right now, of course. But we're still making higher lows overall. So we still have that breakout on watch. So that's going to stay on the watch list. NFEC. NFEC has a history of a very big run back in March once it broke over 150. Has been building up higher lows against that same 150 level. Will be on watch for a potential break. So NFEC is still in play, even though it has taken a small dip. If we just draw a simple little trend line there, on these past 3 dips, we're still uptrending. So we're still in this very long wedge. So we'll see how that plays out. DARE was on the watch list last night, and today it just sold off. So this is no longer to be on the watch list because it just crashed and it's probably not going to be in play for the near future. So that's going to come off the watch list, taking that off. And that was it for the watch list from last night. So we took off, I think, 3 names, and we're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 names on the watch list, great. Now we have to add in stocks that made moves today. So how I do that is I use my low float movers scanner, which is not a pre-built scanner in Trade Ideas. This is a scanner that I offer to my silver and platinum annual subscribers as just a bonus for having 1 fee a year, which they also get a bonus of a very big discount for doing 1 fee a year. And also I give this to my Penny Stock Mastery Mentorship students for free. Keep in mind, you do need a subscription of Trade Ideas, which is around $90 a month. Very worth it, because there's no way I would be able to trade the stocks that I do without this. It gives me great alerts as stocks break out. So you can see right at market open, we had DARE moving up, YTEN popped up. So it's a very, very good scanner. If you want to day trade, I would really recommend getting Trade Ideas, because it's very customizable and you can scan for basically anything. So what I do is I right click on my low float movers, I go to history, and I do a time frame. And my time frame, I do the oldest alert is the morning, so at market open, and then the most recent alert I do at around 8:20 a.m. Just because I want to see what stocks moved in the morning. And then we just scroll down the list and just type in the ticker symbols of stocks that ran up. So we already looked at DARE. We know that's coming off the watch list. YTEN we haven't seen. So YTEN popped up today. First look at the daily chart, not so great. It does have history of running up to $3 in the past. But right now, it's not too close to its breakout, multi-day breakout of $198 and ultimately $2. Had a red day today. Looking at the intraday price action, had a small attempt of a morning spike, but got stuffed mostly, so that's no play. And that's what you're going to see on most of these things you look up. You're going to look at a lot of stocks that are just not in play, but you just have to keep filtering through, because you will find that one gem that others don't. So then we had DRIO pop up. We'll check out that DRIO. First, looking at the daily chart, not so great. Had a big doji. It did a breakout over 208, but couldn't hold it at all. So intraday chart, yeah, very illiquid, not interested. Next was CRK. So CRK did do a big move today. They had news of a I remember the news. They had a letter of intent to do an acquisition. So it was good news. So I don't need that. However, this is a bigger float, I'm pretty sure, and usually with these mergers and acquisition news, it moves up and then it just goes flat. So I'm not interested in this one whatsoever. Looking at the daily chart, it trades like a much bigger float. Doesn't have history of big one-day spikes. It moves like a swing trade. So good for swing trading, not good for day trading. HEAR, that's already on the watch list, so we're not going to look at that. TZOO moved today. Check out that. TZOO, second day of its run. I usually don't like to trade stocks that are on their third day of running, just because over time, statistically, those usually do fail on the third day. And it's not really approaching any great breakout level except for 1125. But of course, this is running very strong, so it needs to pull back soon. Looking at the intraday chart, it is a bit illiquid. It's not nearly as greatly traded. So I'm not going to look at this play just because it's not the type of trade that I want. PCMI, we'll check out that. PCMI did have a multi-day breakout over $12. However, didn't really do it that strongly. And it's just very illiquid, so don't even want to look at that. MTSL had a nice morning spike, it looks like, from 168 up to 275. I actually didn't see this one. I didn't pull it up fast enough, I guess, or I just didn't look at it. This was a very nice spike, though. Looking at the daily chart, very choppy daily chart. You can see very big top wick on this candle. And then I don't think it's going to be running tomorrow just because of how much it's sold off. So I'm not going to add that to the watch list. No potential for me there. LEDS. Let's check out LEDS. Oh, that's on the watch list. So we already know that's there. DRIO, we saw that one. SFUN. Just from history, I know that I'm not going to trade this one because this one is known to be a swing trade one. So just looking at the chart, not good for day trading. NAKD, I know this one as well. Not a good setup. Just very illiquid. Not really great history of previous runs. It does have history, as you can see here back in last year. But this year, it's been ultimately held down by 175. So unless we can crawl back up to 175 and tap that a few times, then we could probably have a big breakout. But right now, not interested. CLOW. Now, CLOW is a OTC stock, massive pump and dump. So this one had a very big run today, but you can see very illiquid. I think it traded like at the end of the day, let's see, probably not more than 100,000 shares. It traded just under 100,000 shares throughout the whole day. Because it's an OTC, I don't want to add it to the watch list, and because it's up so much, there's a lot of risk on this one. Then we had LEDS run up again, MNLO popped up, low volume, not gonna look at it because it didn't run strong. And then we just had CLOW and HEAR running for the rest of the morning. KOSS did pop up. KOSS sold off ultimately. Not interested in it. Doesn't have the type of pattern I want. So it looks like today the overall price action was kind of choppy. There was nothing that ran up and ran strong. VTVT sold off heavily. So I know we took that one off the watch list. And then we had DELT popped up for 3 alerts, very low volume. Then IZA popped up, low volume, already saw that one earlier. MTBC, let's check out that. Not very good history, not a very good breakout level anytime soon, so not going to look at it. And this is kind of what you do. You just look through really quick. Don't have to spend too much time on each stock. Just open it up, look at the daily chart. If it has a good daily chart, then keep looking. But if it has a bad daily chart, just move on. There's so many stocks to look at. Look at the daily chart first, see if it has any potential breakout coming up. If it does, great. Look at it. Look at the intraday. Look at the news. If it doesn't, scrap it, move on. So now we've gone through the entire low float movers window. Didn't see anything that we really liked, so we did not add anything to the watch list. Now we're going to go over to this low float stocks top list window and look at the stocks that had the most volume overall throughout the whole day and see if they have any potential. So first up was CRK. We looked at that one already. Was not a play. DARE, we took that one off the watch list. IQ, it's a very big price of $18 per share. This one only closed up 3%. So no play on this one. It looks more like a swing trade. VTVT, we looked at that. HEAR, we looked at that. MTSL, we looked at that. Let me just switch these over so you guys can see what's important. There we go. NBEV, bigger float. AQMS, bigger float. ELOX, bigger float. YTEN is not on the watch list. I thought we looked at this one. Oh no, don't like this one because it's too far off of $2. OPTT, this one does have history of running, so we'll look at this one real fast, but right now, no good breakout. TZO, we looked at all these. VERI. This one is kind of a good daily chart in the short term. It is higher price. It's almost $19 per share, and we did have this very big drop on huge volume. So I'm assuming that there's a lot of people who are bag holding from the 20s, so that's going to act as big resistance. Then going through the rest of the list, OPGN, that's a previous runner. OPGN, no good pattern though. So I think we're just going to be left with what we had on the watch list already going into tomorrow. Now, this is not where I end my searches. I wake up early in the morning during pre-market, open up the same watch list, and then I open up my gap scans to see if there's any stocks gapping up that pre-market on good news or good volume. And then I'll look at those plays as well and see if they deserve to be added to the watch list. So I do one first at nighttime just to get most of the news out of the way, get most of the stocks on the watch list, and then I pick up the rest of the pieces in the morning by looking at stocks that are gapping up on news and good volume and seeing if those deserve to be on the watch list as well. So that's how I make my watch list every single night. Sorry, it's a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to just make it raw and uncut, exactly how I do it every morning or every night. It takes me just around the same time, just around 20 minutes, maybe a half hour per night. But it's very worth it because there have been some amazing runners straight off of this watch list that you see here. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know. I am considering doing this as a live stream on YouTube every evening, just so you guys can have some feedback from me on stocks that you want me to look at and see if they deserve to be watched on the watch list. So if you want to see something like that, let me know down in the comments. I will be watching them and keeping you guys in mind. If there's overwhelming feedback that you guys do want this as a live stream during the night, then I will add it. So let me know down below in the comments. If you stuck around through this whole video, I'm assuming that you learned something new or you enjoyed the content. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel, because I make videos like this almost every single day, giving out free tips and tricks on how to become a better day trader. And if you want some more structured content and education, I do have a few offers for you. So I do have a lifetime mentorship course, which has lifetime access to my penny stock mastery course, lifetime access to asking me questions, lifetime access to my daily live trade webinars where you can watch me trade live every morning, and lifetime access to my Trade Buddy community chat room with over 100 traders now who give in their tips and tricks on how to become better traders. So if you want any information on those, links are all down below in the description. If you have any questions on anything, send me an email, tony@tonyivanov.com. So that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you all so much for sticking through. I do appreciate you guys giving me the time and attention on this long video. Hopefully it helped you guys, and if it did, hope to see you guys in the chat room tomorrow morning. Thank you all so much.